Hi, my name is Nathan, and today we're going to do a comic book review of Radiant Black, issue number 9, brought to you by RatedComics. Let's get to it. In this issue, we begin with Marshall dealing with the aftermath of the battle with Radiant Ninja. He wakes up, it's an early morning in Illinois. He takes a shower, he pours a cigarette, he lights up a joint, he sits outside, and it seems like these high schoolers are just giving him shit. Like calling him douche, you're a loser, and he claps back like with little enthusiasm, like says the guy in the hoodie, "Newsflash, bucko, she's never gonna sleep with you," as he's clapping back to other high schools. I mean, this guy must be at a really low point in his life to battle back with petty high schoolers. It's kind of funny. He goes into work, he sits, and he's just down his luck because his buddy Nathan's in the hospital. His co-worker is listening to these podcasters talking about the actions, and if those actions are really questionable, and if I were here, I'll be doing this, and they're doing it all wrong, and this is what they should be doing. And Nathan's like, you really listen to those guys? Oh, Circle Guys News? Yes, they make a lot of great points. That's what his co-worker tells him. And then they end with, I think we agree after that, the Japan explosion, things have changed forever, and not in a good way. And I believe that's referencing issue number 7, if my memory serves correctly. Marshall goes to Gold Cross Hospital to visit his friend Nathan, who's in a coma. And he sits by, he's showing good support. And this is all while the Circle Guys podcast is going on, just annihilating these heroes, like criticizing them. You know, you guys need to do this. They're gonna make a speakeasy bar because of the building that they had to rebuild in Japan. And you know what that means, right? So while he's dealing with all that, he's being a good friend supporting Nathan while he's in a coma. And I think what gives Marshall some life is when he tells Nathan that they bond over this show Cow, and they're gonna do a remastering of it, the 15th edition or the 15th anniversary. And I pre-ordered your copy, and it's gonna be like old times when you watch it, and nothing's gonna change, man. So I think that gives him a little bit of hope, because the next day when he wakes up and he hears those podcasters talking smack again, he takes a shower, pours a bowl of cereal, and he lights up a joint, and these high schoolers are just going at him, and his clapbacks are even funnier. I love this one where they're like, "Hey, do you even listen to yourself? You're such a kook." Marshall responds with, "Sorry, I couldn't hear you over the sound of everyone skipping over your Instagram stories." And then he tells one of them, because hey, there's a new TikTok challenge. Sorry, I think that's funny. His clapbacks are funny. And I think his responses are funny because as he's visiting his buddy Nathan in the hospital, he's starting to get more optimistic that he might pull out of his coma. And he's listening to more of these content creators just bashing the Radiant Blacks, bashing the Radiant Heroes, just saying you guys cause more destruction and more problems than you solve. And then Nathan's father walks in and he's like, well, in my experience, you can worry about changing the perception, or you can actually do something that actually matters. And then Marshall's like, well, that's actually a really good point. And I don't know what kind of idea that gave Marshall, but first, that idea, he presents it to officers like, hey, you know what? I don't like you, but I think we could work something out. They're like, no, correction. We don't like you. And then he proposed a proposition like, hey, help me out, and I get to save the world, right? Because that's what I do. And guess what? In return, I can help you out to get promoted, just like before. What do you say? Nah. Call us when Nathan wakes up. So this town is like saying, hey, this is your fault. The aftermath, he's just wondering if I should even stay or go. So he gets another idea where he puts on his Radiant Black suit and he flies over this freeway in a snowstorm saying, I'm sorry, but I did stop the cosmic guy who was threatening our entire world, which you didn't even know about. You're welcome. Okay, innocent. It's just like a billboard advertisement, you know? But then again, good intentions, horrible results. 10-car crash. Oh my God, crash, pow, crash. And then they're all yelling. I'm like, what the freak are you doing, bro? He was like, well, all right, fine. In my defense, these roads should have been salted. I love how it just balances the humor and the grief with comedy, and it does it perfectly. So meanwhile at work, Marshall is listening to more of these content creators bashing him. What are you trying to do? You're trying to apologize. You're trying to give him props. You created more problems than solutions. You caused a 10-car crash. Are you stupid? And he's like, oh my God, man, no matter what I do, every other city I go, I see the same dumb stuff, you know? So Satomi, Radiant Red, comes in. That's some humbling pride right there, where she goes up to him like, hey, dude, can you get a lunch? And he's still pissed at her, but it's like he's at such a low point in his life. It's like, what the... I guess lunch won't hurt nobody. And he was like, what are we here? What are we doing here? She's like, I just want to talk. And then he has his moment where, hey, look, what you did to my friend Nathan, that's messed up. And she's like, calm down, calm down. Look, we got off on the wrong foot. I never should have hit him. This is a good character moment where she learned and she's building off of that to become a better person. And she's like, look, man, I just came to say I'm sorry. And he's like, well, you're gonna have to do better than that, Satomi. So she decides to go to the hospital, and you could tell in her eyes she feels remorse for what she did, because originally in issue number 6, which explains why she did what she did, and it just turned horrible. And then we get more of a glimpse of how Marshall is handling the Radiant Black fighting, and you can tell there's comedic moments, doppelganger, hey, you know, respect me, I'm Radiant Black, don't worry about him, citizen, he won't do that again. And he's saying that on the news, and then he turns around like, seriously, you're gonna make me look like a jerk? I kicked your butt and you robbing banks now? And the next day, and it just goes to show more of what Marshall's dealing with. High school's telling him, but your parents resent you. He buys more bath bombs as a way of coping. This guy's seriously getting into debt. He's drinking. He drinks more iced coffee in the hospital with Nathan. He does more superhero kicking butt. And then these high schoolers like, hey, Marshall, your mom around? Hey, you know, high schoolers can be so brutal, dude. And then he orders more bath bombs. He does more superhero kicking butt. And he goes back to the hospital. And then there's Nathan's ex-girlfriend showing sympathy over here with her ex-man or her ex-boyfriend. So while they're talking, Marshall and Nathan's ex-girlfriend and kind of catching up, rekindling old times here, Nathan has an idea and how he could possibly fix public perception. So he meets with the podcasters in his Radiant Black mask, and he's like, look, I propose a proposition here. And they're like, okay, well, what do you propose, man? I mean, you're kind of messing things up around here. Well, I need to rebuild my brand, and you guys need more clout. Like, no, bro, we already got clout. No, well, here's what I can do. I can give you access. And one guy is like, that's not fair because it's not currency we can spend. And the other guy is like, you want us to turncoat your stuff? We can't be independent news outfit. And then you also want us to sell merch for you too? How does that benefit the cause? And then the other guy's like, cool, can you take us flying? And Marshall's like, absolutely not, never gonna happen. But yeah, I want you guys to sell the merch because it's gonna be for a good cause. And how is it a good cause actually? What's the cause here? Well, I'll give you a percentage and I'll follow you on Twitter. And so they're like, And then here we go, we have our answer here. So there's still quite a bit more book here, but I gotta leave a little bit on the bone with you guys for this issue. Link in description if you want to get this book. What I gotta say about Radiant Black number 5, it's, even though it's an issue involving cosmic beings, wars, larger than life powers, and techno Power Ranger roller coaster of emotions you feel just about in every single issue that makes this series just go bananas. What I do like about this issue, it's a more personal story about Marshall's loyalty and frustration and optimism to his friend Nathan from the results of Radiant Red. It shows hope, it shows sadness, it shows authentic, painful processes here. And while not just understanding his new role and abilities he also possesses, but Marshall's older understanding his relationships with the new circle and outside of it. I like how it shows redemption with one character, forgiveness, and character growth. And also there's just enough humor in this issue to break things up. But the cloud of grief still hovers over Marshall even in those moments, especially building in at the end, and it hits hard. Now the ending of this book is the ultimate cliffhanger where Marshall has an idea of what can bring Nathan back to life in the moment that he's just about to get off of life support and the doctors and his parents are ready to cut him off. But I gotta leave that out because I can't spoil that for you and how that's gonna be and what the proposition is. But it's an ultimate cliffhanger and it's very well worth the read. Link in description, by the way. With that being said, Radiant Black, issue number 9. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. And also, if you like the content we're throwing up, you know what to do. Don't be shy and don't be stingy. Here at Rated Comics, we do awesome comic book reviews, comic book related content with the occasional comic book giveaway. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.